As he breaks the panetta, Adam's getting fed up. He's shouting, God damn it, Declawed. But his puns all get better, the women get wetter, and all he can do is applaud King Declawed. Gonna proc it now, gonna proc it now by Jackson Aurelia, Jackson Aurelia. Gonna proc it now, gonna proc it now, proc it Jackson Aurelia, T-Force. Welcome to the rework of the T-Force, now we going hard cause we bumping at the beat source. It's a 3-course dinner of dudes bringing the news and stats, interviews and casts from the pro scene. So fresh and so clean, viewers. Like Elaine and Whit, Nami in the bot lane. Keep it hot like Brand, practicing his dot game, give it to you easy like your Resi in a bot game. Imagine Draven at prime time, now ulti like LeBlanc can copy that 4 times, but manlier, knock it up like Malphite planning a family-er. You gotta be tuned in like Sona on the ad wall, get on the chat call, can a podcast really be all that? Of course, how do 4 guys make a Triforce?
Hey guys, welcome to the Trinity Force podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell, and I am your host for this evening. We tried using Hangouts, we tried using Skype, we tried everything we could do to get the video going, but nothing worked, so you're gonna see all our lovely faces across there. I have 12 people with us this week. You know what? Everybody sound off at once.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I waited. Hi.
I won, so fuck all y'all.
I was the loudest.
I'm still here.
This is going to be the biggest shit show of a podcast you have ever listened to if you're listening to your car right now. I apologize if it's just completely and totally out there in left field, but this is going to be
That's not true. There's a lot of people who listen to episode 1 of this show.
great. Wow, face. Started hard. So here we go. This is what we're going to do. We have the T-Force proper with us. Dom is here.
I am.
Chira.
Hi.
Declawed.
Yep.
And Daze.
Howdy.
Hey.
Wrecker kind of represents both the Trinity Force proper and the T-Force LCS rundown.
The T-Force LCS rundown for 3 episodes. Represent.
Hey, 3 episodes in 2 games where we beat the T-Force proper in
That's
Standard
true.
Legends.
That's true, yeah.
That's true.
Can't
And
hate on that.
fantasy as well.
Mott is here.
Woo!
Cepha.
Yeah.
Greg Russo.
Hello.
And that takes care of the LCS rundown. Now we have the OzLOL podcast is here. We have one person, Carrot Colossus, is with us this week.
What up?
And then we have 2 lovely producers, Lancifer, who's the producer for the Trinity Force proper.
Hello.
And
Hi.
Kyle is here as well.
Hey.
And he is the producer for the T-Force LCS rundown.
Ow, ow!
Much typing. Stop your typing or put it in the document. Now, as we move on, this episode is going to be very much, like I said, interesting. Our topics are going to include Azir, Cho'Gath versus Renekton, and then we're going to finish off the night by answering some listener questions. Because I think what better of an episode to do it than when I have 12 voices yelling at you at once. So
That sounds like a plan. We should start with Cho'Gath versus Renekton, get it out of the way. Cho'Gath wins. All right, let's move on.
So we are actually
Yes.
We have We're going to start with Azir, where Adam tells everybody that I was right and he was wrong.
wow, so many voices coming at me once. I don't know where to start. It's really weird not being able to see your guys' faces. I've been doing it.
It is.
For so
This
long.
is really weird.
Yeah.
Guys, this isn't a word. That's probably my #1 criticism.
You know what my #1 criticism is? Is when they say funnily enough on the LCS. They don't say humorously. They say funnily enough.
I think
Maybe they're talking about the beer funnel.
Oh.
Do we just have an hour of
Hold
us
on.
teaching at each other's podcasts?
Yeah,
Is
I
that-
was
is
gonna say,
that-
we should talk to each other now, because
That's
really
I
the
was
first
not
section.
prepared.
Now I want a beer funnel.
I just want to say I bought a
Funnily
webcam
enough.
explicitly for this show, like for this particular episode, and I can't even use it. So thank you, Skype. Thanks, Google. We're gonna have a bitch session. That's
Hey, the next time you're on, we'll be able to see your bright and smiling face. So.
yeah.
Oh, you're coming back on here soon, Lee. We're actually going to bring more guests onto the proper here shortly. So let's just jump right into some Azir discussion. I'm going to assume everybody in this podcast has either seen Azir or played against Azir. We talked about him last Wednesday. And first of all, I will say everything I said Wednesday about Azir, I'm going to toss that out the window because I was either wrong or just had misinformation. And I think Azir is flipping amazing now.
When it comes to Azir, you got to take everything you're told with a grain of sand.
Oh, DeClaw Jr.
Good, there's
Thank
two of
you
them.
so
Good, there's
much.
I like it. I like it.
My head just
Yeah,
exploded.
This is the kind of quality material we're going to be putting out for the rest of the
See, you're making Adam
can't
salty
even
now.
handle me right now.
Can somebody put that in the doc to get it removed later?
I will
getting
double note
boosted.
that.
Well, we're really kicking up a sandstorm here with to start
Oh
this
my
out.
God.
Oh my God!
Oh my
Stop.
God.
All right,
Switch.
all right, we're all doomed. We're doomed. Let's move on.
We're just- Okay, so Azir, we've all seen him being played either in solo queue games and normal games, whatever it may be, and right now he's being looked to be played as an AP mage. Who wants to just jump in and take the conversation so I don't dominate it for 30 minutes? I know, Daniel, you had some thoughts about him and you wanted to argue with me yesterday.
Okay, so I think Azir has incredible potential for zone control, and he does an absurd amount of damage. I think that his passive is really oddly designed, and I don't really like that. I don't like that he's forced into like weird attack speed builds despite the synergy with the rest of his kit. I think it's odd that you would force him to build cooldown reduction as a means to get attack speed, because it seems like you're functionally doubling up on the stats he gets. I think that's a little wonky. I don't feel like he does quite enough damage, and I feel like he doesn't play well enough in the laning phase for mid lane or top lane. Specifically in mid lane, he doesn't trade well enough, and in top lane, he cannot tank enough damage and cannot position well enough to farm safely.
Now here's where I'm going to completely disagree with you, because I think he is home in the top lane because he dumps on just about every top laner because of his sand soldiers being able to zone an enemy out. Plus, as soon as you hit level 2, you are able to reposition the soldiers to do more damage as somebody is trying to attack you. Really, what you're forcing them to do is to never be able to fully engage on you, and if they do, that is what a WQE is for, to get out of there.
The issue
if
is
you're
that
using your WQ to be a bully, which I saw you do when I spectated your game. It's very hard to fight against that because it's good zone. It's very good zone potential. You put that little sand soldier out there, and at any moment he could dash towards you with his Q and do pretty damn good damage, and then a couple right clicks and start smacking you with magic damage. So I can see the potential there, but I think you can counterplay. I think as long as you know how to play against the Azir top matchup, I think you can dumpster that Azir. You know, I know you're a cheerleader about Azir going all rah, rah, rah and everything, but I'm pretty sure that it can be countered.
At this point, I'm also sorry, Sean. I do want to say that I'm really rah-rahing him because I feel like too many people discredited him too quickly. They tried to play him. They saw that his skill cap was too high.
There is a shock factor, though.
And they just couldn't play him, and you know that they say he's bad because of that. Sean,
I mean,
Well, the other piece of that too is, and like, yeah, his I don't really think his damage is all that bad. He has a ton of potential, but as a top lane champion, there's no room for forgiveness in making any mistakes, period. So like, he is so squishy that if you get caught out by anything slight and you're not, like, say you use your your E to move somewhere and you don't have it for an escape, somebody rolls in, you're dead. It's not like where there's so many other top laners that can kind of like survive for a few seconds, barely walk out, maybe get that flash away or whatever. If you get caught out of position and you get stunned for a second, you're done. That's a wrap. And it's not just, that's not something you can just super easily solve with positioning. Like, that's just, he might be able to bully people out, but if somebody focuses a little bit on him and he does need some farm to get kind of rolling so he can kind of be a monster, he has a lot of zone power, but if he never gets to that point, then he's just taking up a slot on the map doing nothing close to what he should be doing.
And also because of the nature of his the soldier's auto attacks, that it actually hits multiple units. It's quite easy for him to push the lane, and if he's pushing the lane, he gets ganked. He's kind of got an escape, but not really, because it's very, very short range. So basically, if you get ganked, you're dead.
And if you already used your Arise to harass in the early phases, it's got a pretty decent cooldown. What is it? 8 seconds, 9 seconds.
Like
Once you max out, it goes down to like 3 with cooldown reduction, but early in the laning phase, you're not going to be able to use that to escape.
Right.
So,
but I
people
do
who
look
all
at
in
this
you can
like,
be a threat.
Here's the thing, and something that I think Ghostcrawler had pointed at, and I thought there was a really good discussion topic that we should at some point talk about, where he said designers like to make champions that have plus 10 strength but minus 10 a weakness someplace else, but players like plus 5 strength and 0 weaknesses everywhere else. And with Azir, I think it's the plus 10, minus 10 type of thing. And his weakness being, if he does get caught, he doesn't have good warding, he uses an ability at the wrong time, he's doomed.
It shouldn't be surprising that they went this route. Yasuo was incredibly difficult to play right out of the gate. Everybody thought he was just a terrible champion because nobody understood how to play him. And then as time, they even buffed him as a result. Time went on, and then people figured out, oh, hey, just play him like an assassin, and he becomes a murder machine. And hey, look, now he's like a pretty popular ban candidate. Lucian had one of the lowest adoption rates out of all champions that have been released, and he is now the most popular champion in the game.
Yasuo was the same way too.
Yeah, but to be fair, with Lucian, that's a lot of shifting in the meta, and it's a lot more than just. It wasn't that Lucian was the end-all, be-all on release. He wasn't very good on release situationally because of the other characters that were much, much stronger that did similar things that he did. It's a lot more.
That's not entirely true. There have been a lot of meta shifts, and Lucian even really came into prominence before the Season 4 mastery changes happened. He's been a pretty he got popular after Worlds, but before Season 4 really started in earnest.
Well, ask DeClaude's brother, who was playing Lucian at the beginning. The podcast, we even made fun of Lucian for the longest time. I thought it was terrible.
Oh, and he's also, his builds have just evolved with the meta. There are not a lot of champions that do that, but, for a while you bought Trinity Force on him, and then you stopped doing that. He survives despite all the changes and nerfs that come his way.
Yeah. My brother really loved Lucian when he came out. He was like, this is an awesome champion. I love his ability to escape, to engage, and everything in his kit. So he pretty much played him exclusively in a rank from Silver 5 and made it to Gold 5, playing major Lucian as a majority when he was unpopular. And then he came into Power during Season 4, and it just made it even better, and that's when he stopped playing for some reason. But, Lucian still, I agree. Lucian was powerful in the beginning. It was just people needed to learn how to play him. Kind of like people, when a pro discovers something and plays it, all of a sudden, oh my god, it's OP. Twitch. Nothing changed with Twitch except for some items. And
auto attack animation.
They were like, huge. Let me play Twitch again and see what happens. And bam, oh my god, Twitch. Ban him.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where, Azir has a different mechanic set than... He's very weird to play if you've played other champions. He's very unique. His abilities take a little bit more thought when you're using them. So when you're trying to do the same thing. It was the same thing with Lucian. He doesn't play exactly like the other ADCs. So as soon as you play him like the other ones, then it doesn't seem right.
Oh,
go ahead.
You go, Dom.
I was going to say, what's really interesting about him is you you have to consolidate the fight to a specific zone, and you can reposition a little bit, but if the enemy gets outside of his zone of damage, and he can't bring anything else to that. He's waiting on cooldowns. And literally incapable of doing anything. His follow-up abilities don't mean anything if his soldiers are not in the right spot.
See, this is where I think this is a good transition to being support Azir, because I do believe he still has a role down there, and I know Wrecker has played him, Daze has played him, Lancer for Kyle, Lee, have you guys been able to touch Azir at all?
I played him once as support, and I just thought it was incredibly underwhelming. So, mainly because you just couldn't get that much AP on him. You can get plenty of CDR, but it just... And also, he was very squishy, and it's probably even worse in bottom lane, I found, because, you've got the presence of, a range of aggressive supports that will just crap all over you even more than they would crap all over... a Sona or a Soraka. So, yeah, maybe, but I'm pretty skeptical of the extent. At least someone like a Vel'Koz has a lot of base damage, and he's got a really good range. Where Azir
he's got that shock factor, where people don't know how to play against him. They don't know when the Q's going to be up, when he's going to dash in their zone because of that. But he telegraphs all of his abilities. Mm-hmm. Every single one of his abilities is telegraphed because of his W, except for his ultimate. So that's easy to counterplay once you get used to him. But right now there is that shock value, so you can probably succeed with him in certain roles until something changes.
that shock bite is only useful if he's actually shocking. There's not much that he can really do that's that surprising. I mean, maybe a little bit of early harass, but his E is pretty underwhelming CC.
Shocking. His Q is
good.
But
the Q is good, but not if there's no damage to back it up.
But see,
then it's just mildly
you're
annoying.
not getting, even in top lane, you're not really taking E. If you can get away from having to take E, you don't take it. Like normally you will at level 7.
Point.
Right. Like if you have to put 1 point in it, you put a point in it. Usually at level 7 you do just to be safe. But Azir support, he brings a slow to everybody he hits. He brings good burst damage before you have to go back, and even coming back to lane with a little bit of extra AP in the form of the support items, like Frost Queens and whatnot, does bring a significant amount of damage. And you have so much cooldown reduction that you're always poking people with your soldiers.
Would rather have Zyra.
But the issue is...
It's none of the things you guys just talked about. He has the best zone control out of any potential support, including Zyra. Like, and you are not
hold on.
playing. You're not playing it as a kill lane. You're playing it to just keep them from being able to farm and then pushing and taking the objective. I am wholeheartedly against support Azir, but if you're going to play Azir as a support, that's how you're supposed to do it.
No, I understand that it's not an all-in. Like, it's definitely not an all-in sort of lane. But the issue is you cannot reliably stun people with the E because you're not tanky enough. You don't do enough damage. The Q is really your only source. The auto attack range on the Sand Soldiers is too short for most AD carries. Lucian accepted. Might be the only one who has to walk.
That's the thing, though. You control the lane by getting bush control, and you
don't.
You gain
damage to control the lane.
And you do early enough. Here's the thing. When you walk into lane by just having a little bit of AP, you keep talking over me, and this is going to be the biggest shit show ever, but you walk in the lane with just a little bit of AP. You do enough damage in the bottom lane to allow you to zone out. And also, you're forgetting, when he hits level 6, that ultimate is pretty beastly, because anybody who is jumping at your AD carry, you instantly knock them away. I watched the Pantheon jump at me, I ulted him, and it pushed him so far away from me. You can't do anything at that point. Like you
can do cool things with that ult.
Yeah, you provide lots of protection and control and damage in the bottom lane and early enough in the game that you can transition that into a middle game dominance.
Yeah, but
I want to see
like
Zero Nivea wall combo against terrain, like a mini Cataclysm. Make a little triangle there.
Well, and you can also take a Azir, and if you can position well enough, you can knock somebody into a wall on. Say you're playing support and you knock them into the bottom wall, it'll just keep smacking them back up in the air, and they're stuck in that spot. So
yeah, right now it's buggy.
Yeah, there's some like interesting stuff you can do, but look at it like this as well. The word
you were looking for was cheese.
Yeah, it is cheesy. There are numerous other champs in this lane that can decide to say, screw it, I'm going all in, like Braum, Leona, Thresh. It's one of those things that if Azir gets in a bad spot because his early damage isn't that great, yeah, he can zone you out of bushes, yeah, this or that. If any of those other people can get to him, again, he's dead. Like, he doesn't last very long.
But that's the same thing with every other poke support. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, they're not going to be good against Leona," because that's the fatal flaw of having a poke lane. So, but he does, like, his slow stacks. Like, he has a lot of. If you build him, someone else mentioned Zyra. If you build him like you do Zyra, their numbers are really similar. And he has an extra damage spell that she doesn't have. Now, some of his skills don't really fit well together. They feel a little bit weird because you can actually put yourself out by using Q. You can actually put yourself out of the auto attack range for his soldiers. But in general, like, if you use them properly, especially if you have some experience with Zyra or some of those champions, you can play him very similar, in which you're peeling somewhat with your damage. You have a slow, you have a knockup, you have your wall. So if you split the team in a team fight, you kill their tanks faster than yours can die. You all run through that wall and dive on their back carries. Like, it has a place. You just have to be able to know what you're doing. You have to think ahead, and you can't just go, "Oh, well, I'm going to die to a tank or a hard engaged support," because any poke you play is going to die to a hard engaged support.
Right.
Yes.
I want to touch on something I noticed. Was Morgana's Corrupted Soil is a great zoning ability. Right. You throw it out there, it zones the opponent, but it also damages the minions and pushes the lane. Azir's Soldier is kind of like that. It has the same zone control, but you can target champions instead of minions. So I guess
that
he does have some good zone
soldiers.
control there.
I mean, Morgana's got a lot of poke from quite a substantial range, whereas you actually have to get pretty close with your soldiers to cast them. And then if you start using your Q to reposition them, and you start running out of mana really, really quickly.
Yeah,
so I mean, that's
very bad mana regen.
I still think his poke will be a lot better than Morgana's, though.
Yeah. But the Morgana isn't a poke support. Morgana's a counter engage support, and she's a push support. And like the fear of Morgana is that Leona can't. Yeah, well,
you can't engage on her because
it's a mental thing. You don't walk next to that sand soldier. You're not like, oh, is he far enough away or not? It's like, no, I'm just going to stay away from that area. I'm the 80 carry. I don't want to get pounced on or harassed. So I see a soldier standing there. I'm going to stay outside that little ring around him.
It's my turn to soapbox for a couple of minutes. I've been sitting here patiently, and you all have it wrong. I'm soapboxing now.
You mean sandbox?
Please stop.
I've heard you all compare him to like Zyra the most, and that's just so wrong. He doesn't play like Zyra. He plays like Janna. He is totally 100% a peel for your AD carry. He's not damage. He's not poke. He's a peel for your AD carry. He pairs incredibly well with things like Tristana, Vayne that you want to get into the late game. Part of the reason for this is because you can use Relic Shield and use your soldiers to proc those, which is just incredibly safe farming for and sustain for you and your AD carry. With his alt knockback, that's obviously the same type of zone control as Janna's alt. But then as far as positioning, Janna and Azir both, you position yourself between the AD carry and the enemy, and you peel for him. And that's your job 100%. The way you build them is you don't build them as an AP or a support. You build them as a cooldown reduction tank. And you try to get as many spells off as you can in a fight. And that's it. Like, that's Azir right there, support. And he's the champion.
Does this passive do nothing? I haven't heard that.
Passive lets him erect a turret on a dead turret, or it lets him. It gives him attack speed for cooldown reduction.
Is it
no,
impactful?
it's pretty lame, to be honest with you.
This is base attack speed.
Cooldown reduction anyway.
It's all right, but once you actually start getting dove by people, the second that they get within range that the armor goes away, they can just kill it instantly, and it's not really that big of a factor when you're in a team fight like they said it was going to be.
People have to be greedy. It can save your life if you're like, if people are trying to force a fight on you and you back into like a dead turret and make a new one, like it'll stop a fight. But that's the best it's going to do for you. No one's going to engage on you when that turret's up. And I mean, if they do, you're going to win that fight, but it's just not likely to happen.
But that still has a lot of value. If like from a passive, your ability to disengage a fight, even if it's only situational, that's incredibly valuable.
What I think its biggest use for like offensively is in the mid lane. If you destroy the enemy tier 1 turret and you want to siege the tier 2, you then have Azir's turret to fall back on, and
absolutely,
you can just continue to siege right there in that tiny little area.
We definitely have had to do. I've had to play against an Azir that did that. He put it up, and they had extra zone control because you can unless they're diving you, you're usually engaging by that first tier turret. So if there's another turret up that Azir is standing next to and has the extra armor, you are essentially diving a turret at that point.
They're so close to that tier 2 turret that you're trying to siege to.
Right.
And when you're playing against them, don't fear. Don't play like you play against a lot of people. You see Lux, he's like, oh crap, she's got the Ranger Zig, so you kind of stay back and try to dodge shit, but you're really taking a lot of poke. Same thing, I watched Adam do it to that Teemo. He just destroyed him because he was so scared. He was zoned. Every time he would creep forward, Q, they'd slash him. He wouldn't even worry about auto-attacking him with it. He just hit him with a Q. And it was a ton of damage, the way he was building it and zoning it, because he was so afraid. But if you jump in Azir's face, that's how you're going to take him out.
I would have also thought that the tower would be pretty good for defeating big minion waves, like, a 6-man push kind of strat where you just kind of drop the tower and move off and then go back to your team, especially if they're sieging. We get a situation where maybe there's an open inhibitor and there's super minions pushing, drop the tower, go back to the siege. I think that's probably, it's pretty specific, but I think it'd be pretty useful. Certainly better than just having an inhibitor being beat down by super minions.
Yeah, it has its place. And then it's getting you tons of gold, because every minion it kills goes to Azir.
Go ahead, Daze.
I could see Azir being built the way that Wrecker's talking. It's going to give you a little bit of a disadvantage in lane. You'd have to play really far back like you do Janna. You can't be too aggressive because you're not going to be tanky enough early enough, and you could get engaged on pretty easily. I think it's more of like a play style preference. I mean, I could see it working, or you could. My only argument to that is you can just build him damage, bully them out of lane early. And right now you're in a hyper carry ADC meta. So all they want to do is farm in lane. So you push them out of lane. Then you take the turret because then you have an ability that you can throw down on the turret, does instant damage. And then you push up and it's really hard for you to get ganked because then you throw a turret down on their tier 1 tower and it's easier for you to fall back. And you constantly have that pressure in the bot lane where their hyper carry can't farm. You're taking jungle pressure off of your other lanes and it kind of opens up the rest of the map for your team.
I want you all
but
to
then I would argue
right
you're
now.
more useful in the mid and late game as a cooldown reduction tank, which is where your hyper carry excels and you want to support him the most.
But you can still build CDR. Like there are plenty of different
support
items.
If you don't build the CDR tank
ways.
part of it, you're not going to get as many. You're not going to get as much of your utility off it as you would if you're building tank. The tankier you are, the longer it takes to kill you,
the more
which means you get more utility off.
Yeah, but the more damage you have, the quicker you can kill their enemies, and you still have the CDR because all of the support AP items also offer CDR.
But you're also not there to be the person that's picking up kills or dealing damage. You're there to be the person.
But neither is
supporting the
Zyra.
person doing that.
Zyra's still a support. What you do is you stand with Zyra. You stand by your ADC and you both kill whoever's running at them.
Right. But I'm not
CC
comparing.
And you poke them down.
I'm not comparing Azir to Zyra. I'm comparing Azir to a support like Janna, where you're playing that utility.
Janna's not a CDR tank either. And in fairness to Janna, the success I've had with her, you don't stand in front of your carry. You stand slightly behind them and just shield, slow, knock up whatever's coming at them, and then if necessary, use the monsoon.
No, you always want to be in front of the carry because if
You're
nothing
always
else, it
between
means
the carry and the
you
enemy.
are taking the damage and your carry isn't.
If
like
anytime
that's
if you're
the worst
taking the
case
damage,
scenario.
Carry isn't. That's like dream.
You've done your job.
To be fair to Azir and this entire conversation, there's not been a champion like him that has a pet or has some kind of extension of him that he can control. Like, you can't control Zyra's plants. You can control Azir's soldiers by moving them around. So you can compare him to Zyra, you compare him to Janna, whatever it may be. But I don't think there is a definitive answer. But I do want to point out here, kind of moving the discussion on, that I want you to mark it on episode 200. Somebody's going to bring out a cheese Azir strat where they're pushing turrets down and win the game by 20 minutes.
I'm just going to have a ton of frozen mallets.
That's not going to
We'll see. He's more Orianna-esque.
Probably the same pros that play Poppy.
7 frozen mallets.
I'm gonna go play.
I love how Adam goes off on this like outlandish claim that this is happening, and then we immediately throw a frozen mallet into the mix.
Frozen mallet doesn't.
That's how I got him on the Instalock Mid podcast. Is I played a 3v3 with a Jarvan filled with frozen mallets, and tweeted it at him, and he was like, "Ah, fuck
my god."
Adam told everybody on Twitter today to buy 5 Dorans and a Hex Drinker and a Frozen Mallet.
I didn't tell you guys that either. They were 3 separate tweets. I said a Rain Man buy is buying 3+ Doran's items.
I don't see
and then
the
you said that's not good enough. You need 5. And then you told everyone to buy Hex Drinker, and Frozen Mallet somehow made it in there. I'm blaming you.
You don't see the problem because you built 3 Athenes on Zyra.
That's so good. That's 60% cooldown reduction. How could you not want 60% cooldown reduction?
No, you have to have 70 because you have the masteries too.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Lancefer.
Yeah.
Are you ready to put this on? You get to do one audio, by the way, because Daze decides to tell me at 26 minutes in that her audio is not recording properly.
I told you at 14 minutes in, and for
that's still too late.
Audacity's pulling up everybody else but me for whatever reason.
Really quick question. T-Force Rundown crew, is everybody's audio working?
Yeah, I think so.
All right,
good question. Yeah,
Oslo podcast guys, is your audio working? Yes, my audio.
So glad their producer has their shit together.
Oh wow, we're gonna fight. I would
hold on. About Azir, not being awesome, Adam is in denial. So let's move on. All right.
No, I was actually gonna say you guys don't a lot of you don't like him in top or mid, so would you say that like the weirdest part of his kit, but also his biggest weakness is like a rise?
Wow, you have shut
Killed
the entire podcast up. Yeah. You even made the Claude go, what?
Egypt me on that one. That's for sure.
My God, please.
All of you so much.
My brain melted. I don't even know what happened.
so
Throw things at monitors.
Shift these sands forward.
I am.
What's the next topic?
I'm quitting the podcast and uninstalling League of Legends.
I'm out of here. See ya.
All because of puns.
The silence is better than a reaction, actually. That was awesome. I never got that. Lancifer for the win.
Thank you. All right. Well, we are 30 minutes in here. We have just completely dismantled Azir. I think there's no more discussion left to be had with him.
Pharaoh.
Especially since we discussed him
right.
in his role that he wasn't designed for.
So next topic of discussion for this 12-man shit show is going to be one that probably only T-Force proper is going to get into and scream about. But a very long time ago, Claude and I vehemently argued about Cho'Gath versus Renekton. And we are going to have this conversation. I'm not going to talk about it. You guys can argue all you want. I'm staying out of it because there's 12 of you. Or 11 of you. And
Whatever. There is no way you're going to be able to keep your damn mouth shut.
I want you all to assume, and remember this, that when we have this discussion, Cho'Gath versus Renekton in the top lane, do consider that there is a jungler, so it's not a pure one-on-one. And also, this is at the height of the Renekton bar. Okay, Renekton was the best top lane champion at that time.
You just answered the question.
Cho'Gath top lane.
I will.
What the fuck?
No. Here's the thing, though, because Claude argued, screamed about it. We both got. Well, he didn't scream. I screamed. We got into it about how I said Renekton's going to beat him no matter what, and he said no, you can do this and this and this. So I'm going to leave it there. Claude, why don't you present the argument of why you believe at the top of the Renekton bar that Cho'Gath was better than Renekton?
Actually, hold on.
If you
don't mind, I would like to start this one.
No. What first made me believe it?
Let Claude do his point, and then you can go.
He's angry.
Was in the game when Adam was playing Renekton and he got beat by Cho'Gath top, and then I had to argue it for it. So that's pretty much it.
That is true.
But if we argued everything that Adam's been beat by in top lane,
I was there.
Sean was there.
We'd have a huge list.
Yeah, including the T-Force LCS rundown. Boom.
Oh, the jokes are real.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
And if you are what you eat, and he becomes the king of the top lane if he eats Renekton. So, but anyway, go on, Mott. I'll let you go. I just wanted to throw that little jab at Adam and see if I can get him to comment.
No, it was going to be really trolly, but I was going to say that Cho'Gath has Battlecast Cho'Gath. So Skin War obviously won.
That's
what I bring to the conversation.
It's like the fourth best skin in the game.
Which one?
Outback Renekton. It's like the fourth best skin in the game.
I don't
Pool party Renekton, man.
But that one's down under Cho'Gath, so.
Oh, please.
Please.
I'll give you Pool Party because he can do that taunt spam.
Oh, no, the B spam where he jumps up on the chair over and over again.
But anyway, I played a Cho'Gath today, actually, top against Nasus, which isn't Renekton, and I totally shit on him. But what Renekton brings to the table is his ability to sustain in lane. We're talking about at the peak of his, Renekton is king of top lane. And I agree, Renekton is king of top lane, and I don't say a Cho'Gath top will shit on Renekton and make it so it's impossible. But I would say, Adam was saying that Renekton would destroy Cho'Gath with absolutely no chance for him to win the lane. And that's where I disagreed. And that's where we kind of argued. And I stood my ground on that because I've seen Cho'Gath defeat Renektons. And it's not like a skill matchup. It's how you play. If both of them have skill
matchup. That is a skill matchup. Yeah.
No, but if they're both the same skill. I'm saying the shitty Renekton will lose to the good Cho and the good Cho and the good Renekton, whatever. Anyway, they will beat each other. The better one will win. But if we're saying an even matchup and they know each other's abilities, that's where it can become an even lane. It doesn't have to be Renekton winning every single time. They both have telegraphed abilities. Renekton's going to come in and Q you when he's somewhat low on health if he wants to sustain, and you see his rage bar hit red. So you can kind of dodge that. Cho'Gath's Rupture, you get a little split second to react to that, although you can skill shot it a little bit to hit it, which is a lot easier than hitting Renekton's Q without having to slice and dice and commit in. So there is counterplay there.
Except the difference is that Renekton is completely free of mana, whereas Cho'Gath is very, very mana hungry, and all of his lane pushing relies on right? No, because Garen doesn't do damage like Renekton does damage. Garen doesn't have CC like Renekton has CC. And I also think Garen would beat Cho'Gath in the top lane. I don't think Cho'Gath's a good top laner.
Okay, I think he is, and he can sustain in the lane because of his passive.
His passive is pretty
awesome.
Strong.
His passive is very strong, and actually, when you get your catalyst, it's those mana issues that you have on Cho kind of go away during the entirety of the laning phase, unless like you're not getting levels or you're completely shoved out because the jungler shows up.
Weirdly.
Right.
You fully Cho'Gath like you can other tops.
Here's the other thing too. Like Renekton's the king of all inning people once he gets somebody to a certain like health percentage. You can just kind of shut that down by silencing him and run away.
You can silence, and then you can rupture, and then you can ult.
Like it's one of those things. It's kind of just the unstoppable force. It's the immovable object, and that like Cho'Gath's super safe. And sure, you know, maybe he gets shoved up to the turret early and has a little bit of an issue CSing under turret. As long as the two are on the same level, they're both gonna basically fulfill the exact same role late game in just being a chaos machine when it comes to team fights, except now you have a chaos machine that's doing its job in team fights with a huge true damage chomp to help execute or whatever, and pulling a big silence.
Assuming he can hit a rupture, assuming he can get to the people, which is the difference. Assuming he can hit a rupture, going to make it to the person. Like,
well,
assuming he can hit a rupture.
To be honest, like hitting a rupture isn't.
It's not that hard.
All that hard. Like it's all about just like leading wherever you're going to put it. It's no different than hitting almost any other skill shot. If you're comfortable with the champion, you should be able to land the abilities, you know?
Plus, the cooldown on it's really low. So
it's not very low. It's the same. It's the same thing. Well, how do you know that you're going to land a rupture? How the hell do you know you're going to land an Azir Q? Going back to that, you don't. Yeah. You hope that you're going to land it, and you're playing the champion.
Azir Q is way easier to land than a rupture is because there's no delay, and rather the delay is shorter than a rupture is.
The delay is shorter. I mean, the Cho'Gath's delay is really long. It's really easily telegraphed. Like there's this huge ring, and now back before when Cho'Gath was designed, there weren't like a ton of champions with mobility. Now you have blinks, you have this, you have that. Like it's not that difficult to get out of a skill shot like that anymore.
When you're in like a 40-minute team fight, the rupture is not like the main focus of the team at that point, and it
when
can get
chaos
overlooked.
Is going on, you're not necessarily always paying attention to what's going on underneath you if you're tunnel visioning somebody to get away.
Let's look at the laning phase. Let's look at the Renekton who wants to farm. So you watch your own minions' light health bars. You're like, okay, they're low enough to where if Renekton gets in range to Q, he can kill them, or he can go and hit them with an auto attack. Let me rupture. He'll see it, but then the minions are going to die.
Yeah,
and he's going to lose that farm and not take the rupture, or
that's the other huge
farm
piece
and take the rupture.
As soon as you get that Rod of Ages, you also become just a wave clear machine as well. Like you kind of can take care of the endless Renekton shove that Renekton has.
Right, but you're also assuming that you're going to be able to last hit very well under the tower in that regard. Like Cho'Gath doesn't have...
It's easy with Vorpal Spikes.
You can't, because you have Vorpal Spikes.
No, I realize you have Vorpal Spike, but it's not as easy, because he is mana hungry. Like, you have to spend something on the Scream or a Vorpal Spikes, or excuse me, a Rupture or whatever.
Vorpal Spikes
that's
the only people who
just
ever
use
lose mana
Spikes.
with Cho'Gath are people who don't know how to use Cho'Gath. Like, really, the people who go into lane, rupture everywhere, scream everywhere, they're the ones who have no idea what they're doing. If you know what you're doing in top lane, Cho'Gath has as much mana as you ever need.
He just farms up until he gets too tanky to kill and has too much health, and then he just becomes a CC machine. That's all.
Tough. I think Sean said it right. He's safe. He's a safe top lane choice, so he's not going to get completely shit on unless you have no idea how to play him. If you are a good Cho'Gath player and you're fighting a good Renekton player, you're not going to lose the lane terribly automatically no matter what. You're going to hold your own. And
once you get to 6, and once you start building up those stacks, you end up being so tanky that you can't be burst down. And I think that's the thing with Renekton is, okay, yes, he can come in and do damage, but if you're so tanky that you can't get you down low enough that he can dive you into tower or use Ignite, then what does it really matter? I mean, you just keep farming.
Well,
and
see,
you just
my
keep
big
farming,
argument
keep
now
farming,
is
keep farming.
that back... Ooh, I definitely am spilling beer everywhere. This is going to be fun.
Yeah!
Put it in the document.
You're foul.
Put it in the document. I heard a noise.
All right.
Yeah, there was a noise there.
So what? Yeah. Before I say anything, what is our frame of reference here? We said that 2 equally skilled players going against a lane. The junglers do exist. I mean, are we talking about solo queue here? Are we talking about last season's competitive?
Here was the argument. We're saying solo queue, and we're saying 2 equally skilled top laners, Adam's argument is that Renekton will completely shit on Cho'Gath, and there's nothing the Cho'Gath can do. My argument is no, it'll be an even lane, or the Cho'Gath could even win if he played properly.
I don't think the Cho'Gath can win.
I don't either.
Cho'Gath wins by getting to late game. No, at no point is Cho'Gath going to outdamage.
Oh yeah, I don't.
It's just
I
not
don't
going to
think
happen.
he wins lane. I think he survives lane, and he doesn't let Renekton win lane. I think that's what happens.
I think he could snowball lane. If he gets some good ganks, he can snowball lane, but I don't think he just wins it off the bat. He'd have to depend on his jungler.
Who's that, Renekton or Cho'Gath?
Cho'Gath.
Okay.
You know how chaotic this night is? There was just a lightning strike that knocked out my internet for about 30 seconds. That was great.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
people in
Go the guys who brought it back then.
That.
But you know, the Cho'Gath, it's really funny when Renektons or Nasus who hold their ultimate till they're really low, and I feast them and kill them before they can even hit R. Same with the Tryndamere.
Oh yeah, no,
you have that in your pocket as well. So you know you gotta be cognizant of this kind of stuff when playing against a Cho'Gath as Renekton, and you have to adjust how you play.
I think a big
You're not
piece
gonna
of something
bully
that
just like
people can
everyone
take
else.
out of this, even now, at the point we're not at the top of the Renekton bar. Renekton really isn't played that much anymore. Yeah, he's still pretty great in solo queue and whatnot, but it's not all about killing somebody in the top lane either. At this point, like I know I argued about that. I still hold true to that point. But if we're talking about it like a real sense where you're actually playing in your equal skill level, blowing your ultimate early, pushing that person out of lane, getting it to the tower, forcing a teleport so you ever teleport up later, those are all mind games you can play as a top laner that, if we want to take this to like a next level discussion, is what we could talk about. At that point, you're forcing the Cho'Gath to use his teleport because he has to come back to the top lane, and now your teleport is up for that dragon, and then you can.
Or you're feeding him free XP, and he's last hitting under the turret with his passive and Vorpal spikes.
Meantime, I went and got a quadra kill. I mean, I could come up with bullshit information too.
Here's the thing, is that Renekton has infinitely more reliable wave clear and is always going to be able to push Cho'Gath to turret. Whether or not he can take a turret from Cho'Gath while Cho'Gath is there is arguable, but Renekton, if he's smart, is going to be able to roam, which Cho'Gath will never be able to do in that lane. Even with TP, he's never going to be able to roam as effectively as a Renekton will be. Renekton has the free sustain to stay in lane as long as he needs to and will always be able to push to turret. Renekton's a better laner, without a doubt a better laner, and can definitely roam from early to mid game. But I think there's no doubt that Cho'Gath is like unstoppable late game when he gets to that level of tankiness.
Sure.
And Renekton's not going to completely shit on Cho'Gath.
Cho'Gath
will hold his own.
I don't think a Renekton can tower dive a Cho'Gath.
Two evenly skilled players playing any champion, no one's going to feed to the point where it's like awful. Right? Someone has to really make a mistake.
Top against Renekton, maybe.
But the thing about
but
Renekton,
even then, Urgot's not going to die.
The thing about Renekton is he's not going to let you get to that late game. That's not his goal. Like Renekton wants to get push you to tower early, wants to take your tower early, wants to help roam and get kills. He doesn't want to wait until 45 minutes and Cho's huge and not able to be killed.
He's not going to take that tower early against Cho'Gath, though. He might push you to the turret and give you free XP and gold.
Which is fine, but I just teleported bottom lane to Dragon and took that, and then potentially
good
took
for
another
you, but
turret.
then
There's those
turret.
pieces of the game that it's too hard to talk about in the overall discussion.
We can talk
but
about winning
if I'm
the
pushing
lane.
you to turret and I've got you low enough because I hit level 2 or 3 before you did, which a good skilled top laner that's playing Renekton understands that getting the level 2 before the enemy allows for is huge. Yeah, and I'm going to force you out of lane and force you to
potentially win the lane. But
I think you can argue as much as you want, but in a vacuum, it's like you can argue that the lane could go even. But I think that when you're looking at the game of League as a whole and not just top lane, Renekton's always going to be the better pick.
And we haven't even talked about jungle
Not
pressure.
as a whole.
Right.
I like Twitch's idea. Let's just pair up right now. Everybody hop into League. Let's pair up. Somebody pick Cho. Somebody pick Renekton. We've got 5 sample sizes. Let's just do it. One-on-one.
Thunderdome.
It would be such a boring stream to watch. Watch me Patati at level 2. Oh, I fucked up my all-in level 2. Now he's at his tower getting XP.
Yeah, but just to have all 5 games playing side by side, that would be a cool stream. Just nothing but Renekton versus Cho'Gath.
But Adam lost to Cho'Gath anyway. So anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, I mean that pretty much decides.
That's all that matters.
Oh, I don't remember this game, but okay, whatever you guys say.
Yep.
I can't remember what I played yesterday. Oh, yes, I can. I played Azir, and I dominated. I will play any of you as Azir.
You did dominate as Azir. That was really impressive. All right, what's the next topic? Let's move on.
Oh, is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
So here's my question for Lancifer and Kyle. Lancifer to answer first. Lancifer, what you normally play AD carry, right?
Yeah.
Kyle?
Top lane normally.
Okay. So I'm going to ask this next question. I want Lancifer, if you can, to answer it. Then I want Kyle to answer it. Then I'm going to open it up to everybody else, okay?
Sure.
So Sandro from Gatherer's Granola writes in, with games going longer and longer, does it make more sense to go for scaling runes over flat runes? Lancifer, you're up.
How
do you play your AD carries?
This is a good question.
I think I play actually a hybrid of flats and scalings for my armors at least, but everything else I have just flat. Yeah, I think I run 5 and 4, 5 flat armors and 4 scalings, just so I have that little bit of extra armor late game, but I'm still able to survive early game pretty well. So, and then everything else I just run flat. Because I feel like if I can get to late game, then I've probably done something all right in the sense of my runes. I've always looked at runes also as a very much so early game helper, as opposed to late game importance. And then items in game will be the more important part once you get in there. So I would personally say definitely flats, but be willing to try things out.
Good answer.
Kyle?
I don't know. The way I normally play top lane, I like the tankier top laner, so I normally go scaling, normally just scaling health on most of them. Like I play a lot of Mundo, and I play a lot of Jax, and Shogath as well, actually. And I like scaling health. It just, I don't know. That's what I feel like. I don't feel like, also I'm kind of cheap and I don't like buying extra runes that I'm never going to use because I don't feel like changing them. But scaling health for me just feels better because then you just get that extra bit every level as you level up and it starts doing more and more later. But flat armor seals, I would go if I was playing a less tanky top laner. I don't know. Like it's just the way my rune pages are built. Like I said, I'm cheap and I only have like 4 rune pages.
Nice. So one of each. Lancifer prefers flat. Kyle, you prefer scaling.
I do think
Kyle was the top laner though, right?
Yep. Kyle was.
That makes sense. I mean, a solo laner is going to hit higher level faster and get those bonuses faster.
Well, not only that, but you're going to be on your own island forever as well. So you probably are getting more out of that stat once the actual fight's coming into it, because you're probably meeting up in team fights when your character is higher leveled throughout the game.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to run a lot of scaling right now, and if it wasn't the end of the season, I would be running a lot more scaling. Like when the rune changes first came out, I changed all my rune pages to be like half and half. I did like half armor and half health per level out of my seals. And then I didn't really change my rune pages throughout this entire season because I kind of did catch-alls. But now that I'm kind of playing a little more and going back, I'd look at probably say, like my Azir page, for example, I'm running health per level seals and cooldown reduction per level blues, and that's more per level than I've ever ran in my entire career.
I'm with Lancifer. I see the rune pages, rune books, working your rune books for the early game. I like to win early so that it can carry me into the late game. And flat is just so much better up to a level 11 is when it evens out.
I thought it was 9.
So
9.
Or level 9. Okay, so you have to level 9. Pretty much, you're going to have an advantage on your opponent who's running scaling. So I like flat for my runes. And then the difference you're going to get in health, what is it? It's 219 full health compared to 92 or something like that. I don't know the numbers if someone could find them. But at late game, okay, maybe you have a ruby sightstone on your opponent, but you lost the early game because he had the advantage on you there.
Yeah,
so
at that point you're down 3 kills.
I prefer flat.
I think a lot of it depends on your playstyle. If you're someone who likes to farm and likes to shoot for late game, then scaling may be the way to go. But I'm personally really aggressive early game, so I need those flat runes to really kind of get the effect that I want. So it might just be
you can.
right, exactly, and that's what my playstyle. I try to play as aggressive as I can, as early as I can, and see how fast I can push people out of lane.
Right. I don't like banking on the late game because
I'm with the Claude on that one. I play a lot of solo queue, and I mean, games usually try. I mean, they wind up going to late game because it's hard to coordinate. But ideally, you want to end it before 30 minutes if you can. So
well, and with the nature of solo queue too, if you can get off like a couple kills early, you might completely tilt whoever you're laning against, and they might, AFK, rage out at their teammates, complain to the jungler, and blame them for the fact that they lost. Any other thing that's been talked about a million times that jerks in solo queue like to do.
However, if they have scaling runes,
on that.
If they have scaling runes, maybe they'll be like, okay, hold on, I'm not level 9 yet.
But here's the thing, like, they might say
hope.
that, but their team isn't going to listen to that. And conversely, if you are running scaling and you fall behind early, you're increasing the chances of your team going on tilt and turning on you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be said for playing it safe early.
If one of those things, if you have a 17k lead, your team has a 17k lead, then it doesn't matter if they have scaling runes because you're 17,000. Gold up. Like it's
that is a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what even and most of the time in solo queue, I've noticed when I go back and look at the stats, that's the difference between the teams by the time you finish the game. And in the last 10 minutes, last 5 minutes, you generally snowball even harder because that's when you start picking up free barons and stuff. But really, it's one of those things that I think if you've got items, that's more items is better than scaling runes. And so snowballing the early game and getting that advantage, and even if because solo queue is one of those things that who can throw the least. So really, it's precarious anyway. But if you can get such a far lead that no matter how hard you throw, you can still win. That's in my mind. That's what you want to aim for in solo queue.
There's champions out there though that I would argue that scaling is better on. I'm going to use Exir for example because he's the most recent one I played. That scaling CDR in the blues is better than flat. Because more than likely, unless the game has just gone to shit, you're more than likely going to get to level 9, 10, 11. And at that point, it's a stat you don't have to invest money into.
I feel like CDR is an exception, though, because CDR is kind of like attack speed. All you're doing is doing no damage faster early game. So, yeah, scaling makes more sense. But in terms of resistances and things like that, you kind of,
even armor, though, or health, like, you don't buy a lot of health in the game until as it goes later. So, and I would say most games make it to your level 11, 12. So having that scaling, assuming you're not losing the early game because of your fuck-ups. Because in my opinion, even an equal skilled person with one with scaling, one with flat, can come out of the lane even at that point. Just thinking about runes, that if we made it to level 12, where probably most games are decided, you have an advantage on your opponent who had that flat. And we've always said that one life can make the difference between a win or a lose. So I am a strong believer in running certain types of runes as scaling. And
think about it though.
CDR and health.
What's the difference between flat and scaling at level 18? What's the difference between flat and scaling CDR?
7.5%, isn't it?
It's 7.5%.
Yeah.
All right. Most items have, so it's not really going to make that much of an item difference.
It does,
you're not
though, because of
get
the
that
items
item
that you're building on somebody. Let's say Azir. I'm gonna keep going with that. If you build your lucidity boots and it's just the only one I can fucking think of off the top of my head because it's all I played all weekend. Is if you build an Athene's and lucidity boots, that extra 10% that you get from your scaling
7%.
makes up 7 is what it makes up the difference to get to 40%, and you don't have to buy an item that's overcapped.
Except if you take flat, you get 5, and then you're exactly where you were anyway.
Yeah, then you can buy items around it to reach the cap without overshooting it or being
but
under
then you
it.
don't have to buy like lucidity boots, for example. You could buy berserker greaves and get attack speed, or you could buy
I agree with that.
shoes.
So, I gotta check on Azir now.
If you're playing bot lane, I would always say that flat is going to be better. Level 2 and 3 hard engages are always going to be happening, whether you like it or not. If you're lucky enough to not be placed in a bot lane where there's any magic damage, you can maybe take scaling MR, but flat armor is a must in every lane. Jungle, same thing, flat armor, just because, that's what the camps do. Solo lanes, I think it's up to you. It depends on the style of character you're playing. If you're playing a really hyper-aggressive laner, even if you're not a hyper-aggressive player, if you're playing an aggressive laner, you need to be all-inning early and taking advantage of that early aggression, and you should be running flat. But if you're playing someone who scales in the late game, maybe a Rise or someone like that, you can definitely scaling.
I like Kyle's Mundo earlier too. Like, take those health scaling runes, because if you get to that point, you're enormous, and people you're getting a huge benefit out of your ult as well. Like, there's no reason.
It just adds
not
that much extra to a character like Mundo.
Yep. There are certain characters that scaling runes are much better on.
Plus, Mundo, you're not going to be aggressive early. You can't be aggressive.
No,
early.
you can't.
So just write that off and play for the late game when you just become enormous with like 6k health.
Yeah.
But you know what, Sean? I would say there's some characters where scaling runes are better on. I would take the much out of there because it's still not that great of a difference. Because if you're that tanky late game Mundo, the extra 100 health you have, adding you the 0.1% or whatever health regen, isn't going to make or break that team fight. And I think Sifa pretty much summed it up.
The podcast has said for how long that 1 HP could make or break, so 100 could make or break.
I'm actually not sure I've ever heard that said.
We have 100% said that in the past. I will not go find it because I do not know the episode at all, but we have definitely said, we have talked about it. I remember you being
translation. He can't actually point to where anybody's actually said it. Therefore,
anyway, all right, listen, Lee, when you do 200 episodes of a podcast, you can come fucking talk to me and tell me what you said.
So, wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeez, I paid him that well.
1 HP can be the difference maker, but that's just as much a fuck up on
we
the
just
one.
said it. We just said it, everybody.
Hold
Got
on.
it.
It's just as much a fuck up.
It's not just the 100. It's not just the 100 hit points. It's the fact that it's 100 hit points that gets multiplied by his ult and his passive.
Nothing to do with what I was going to say. The 1 HP might make a difference, but that's just as much a fuck up on the person who didn't get the 1 auto attack off at any point during the fight.
Right. Well, it's
not necessarily
that
because
1
of the root.
HP matters just as much in the early game as it does in the late game, and you're getting 1 more HP or 10 more HP in the early game.
Way more in the early game.
Not only that, but if you look at the percentage of health that rune is in the early game compared to your health in the late game, that extra 60... I think it's like 66 extra HP you have by having the scaling quints instead of the flat quints means nothing when you have 3,000, 4,000 health. It means a lot more early game when you have, 600, 700.
Good point.
I mean, you just need to go talk to Fnatic about what the difference might have been, in terms of one hit on a Nexus. Like if they had different runes, they wouldn't have need that one last hit to win the game.
Like that.
Well, personally, I mean, I usually run flat because I'm playing ARAM. So,
wouldn't you want to run
wait?
scaling?
Shouldn't ARAM be an argument for scaling since you start at level 3?
Right.
Damn it!
I drive ARAM.
He's like, damn it, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And this is why I'm on
I would say if you're wondering what to buy as someone coming into ranked, I would say always buy flat. I think flat is the safer bet. But I think as you diversify, then you have more options, and there are some circumstances where scaling is going to be better.
Absolutely.
There you go. If you're banking on the late game 100%, go for scaling. Wow. Otherwise, flat's the way to go.
Guys, I love you all, but you know what this means.
Are you going to sing the good night
of the podcast?
Go to sleep?
We all need to hold hands. And
that definitely wasn't where I thought that was going to go.
No.
Kumbaya?
I don't know.
And sing Kumbaya and...
Wait. We should end it by doing the staggered row your boat song.
Oh, God. The Skype staggered?
Yeah.
Please, no.
The Skype delay would just kill that.
Okay. Well, you know what? Thank you, everybody from the Trinity Force proper. You guys can say you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, from the T-Force LCS Rundown, the OzLOL podcast, and, of course, our two producers.
Do we not get to say
Shut up, Kyle Ciacelli and Lance Fur. You guys have...
Thank you all.
You guys are awesome parts of this network.
Adam's on the brink of snapping.
You are an integral part of never doing a 12-man show again.
Why we don't have the webcams on? He's all red-faced and just wanting to burst at us.
No, I had a lot of fun. I think this was a great episode and definitely a one-of-a-kind podcast. So, who's got parting words? You know what? I'll let every single one of you argue and scream.
Row your boat.
Oh, God.
Row your boat gently down.
Merrily.
All right, guys, that's episode 1 and 200 of the 24th podcast. We'll see you all next week.